In 2024, 1 in every 10 new cars sold in the US was a Volkswagen Group vehicle. The German automaker had become a familiar sight on American roads, its cars woven into the daily lives of millions. Volkswagen's presence was not just about cars, it was about a legacy of engineering, innovation, and a bridge between continents. Now, that presence is vanishing. Dealerships that once bustled with activity are eerily quiet, and the familiar VW badge is slowly disappearing from showrooms across the country. The announcement came without warning. Volkswagen AG, after 70 years in America, will withdraw completely within 2 years. The news stunned both industry insiders and loyal customers, who had come to rely on the brand's reliability and style. The decision sent shockwaves through the auto industry and the broader economy, challenging the Trump administration's America First policy. Investors scrambled to assess the fallout, while policymakers faced tough questions about the future of American manufacturing. This isn't just the loss of a brand, it's the dismantling of a vast economic ecosystem. Factories, R&D centers, suppliers, and tens of thousands of jobs. Communities that depended on Volkswagen for their livelihoods now face an uncertain future, with ripple effects spreading far beyond the auto sector. The finality of VW's statement left no room for negotiation, signaling a fundamental break in transatlantic economic ties. Decades of partnership and collaboration have come to an abrupt end, raising questions about the future of international business relations. For an administration that promised to bring jobs back, the exit of a major industrial player is a profound political humiliation. The loss is not just economic, but symbolic, a blow to national pride and confidence in American industry. The move exposes the limits of protectionist rhetoric in a global economy, where corporations can simply walk away. It's a stark reminder that economic power is increasingly mobile, and national borders offer little protection against global shifts. Volkswagen's decision has triggered a crisis that will reverberate for years, forcing America to confront a new and unsettling reality. The departure of this German giant marks the end of an era, and the beginning of a challenging chapter for the nation's workers, businesses, and policymakers alike. Volkswagen's American story began in 1949, with the Beetle becoming a counterculture icon and a mainstay on US roads. Over decades, VW evolved from niche importer to mainstream contender, adapting to American taste with models like the Atlas SUV built in Tennessee. The Chattanooga plant, opened in 2011, was a billion-dollar investment employing thousands and anchoring the regional economy. VW's U.S. network spanned parts centers, R&D in California, and a financial arm serving millions. Even after the Dieselgate scandal, VW doubled down, pivoting to electric vehicles and expanding its U.S. operations. This deep integration makes the withdrawal devastating, not just a brand leaving, but a high-volume manufacturer embedded in America's industrial base. VW Group's exit, including Audi and Porsche, tears a hole in the market and disrupts supply chains. What was once a story of resilience is now a cautionary tale of abrupt corporate retreat. President Trump's response was swift and furious, his anger unmistakable as he addressed the nation and his supporters. He blasted Volkswagen's move as a deep betrayal of American workers, calling it a slap in the face to the people who had counted on these jobs for their livelihoods. In a series of heated tweets and public statements, he threatened massive tariffs on German imports, vowing that Volkswagen would regret abandoning the US market and warning other companies not to follow suit. The administration was blindsided by the decision. VW's Chattanooga plant had long been touted as a shining example of Trump's success in attracting foreign investment and creating American jobs. The sudden withdrawal shatters the carefully crafted narrative, revealing that even presidential threats and promises can't override the realities of global corporate strategy and shifting economic priorities. Behind the scenes, officials scrambled for answers, realizing that years of tariffs and escalating trade wars had not only alienated key allies, but also created a hostile environment for foreign companies trying to do business in America. The very policies meant to protect American industry may have backfired, driving a key player away and leaving workers with an uncertain future. VW's exit exposes the vulnerability at the heart of Trump's protectionist doctrine, demonstrating that the U.S. market is not indispensable if the costs and risks outweigh the benefits for global corporations. For an administration built on the promise of controlling corporate behavior and bringing jobs back home, this is a stunning and public rebuke, shaking confidence in the president's economic strategy. Now, the president is left facing not only a major economic crisis and the loss of thousands of jobs, but also a damaged political brand, one that may be difficult to repair as the consequences of these policies become clear. Volkswagen's exit wasn't triggered by a single event, but by mounting economic pressures. The US market, though large, delivered thin profit margins for VW, lagging far behind Europe and China. Trump-era tariffs and trade uncertainty drove up costs and made long-term planning nearly impossible. VW's Chattanooga plant relied on global supply chains, and tariffs on steel, aluminum, and auto parts squeezed profits further. Meanwhile, VW faced immense pressure to fund its global electric vehicle transition, requiring massive investment. The underperforming volatile US market became the logical candidate for divestment. Dieselgate's lingering costs and reputational damage only added to the burden. Ultimately, VW's board made a cold calculation: exit the US, free up capital, and focus on winning the EV race in Europe and China. The decision, while painful, was about survival in a rapidly changing industry. The closure of Volkswagen's US operations is more than just a business decision. It's an economic shockwave, with its epicenter in Chattanooga, Tennessee. This city, once a symbol of industrial revival, now faces an uncertain future as the heart of its manufacturing sector is ripped out. Over 4,000 direct jobs vanish overnight, but the real devastation is the multiplier effect. Tens of thousands more jobs are lost in supplier factories, logistics companies, and local businesses that depended on VW's presence. Families across the region are suddenly left without income, and the community's economic fabric begins to unravel. The region faces a new Rust Belt reality as tax revenues plummet, forcing painful cuts to schools and public services. Small businesses, from diners to hardware stores, close their doors, unable to survive the loss of steady customers. Nationally, over 600 VW dealerships will shutter or struggle to survive, erasing billions in local economic value. Communities that relied on these dealerships for jobs and sponsorships now face a void that will be hard to fill. VW credits unwinding will disrupt the auto loan market, affecting millions of car owners who suddenly face uncertainty about their financing. The ripple effects could destabilize local banks and credit unions as well. The withdrawal removes a major competitor, likely reducing consumer choice and raising prices for everyone. Shoppers will find fewer options and higher costs, making car ownership less attainable for many Americans. It's a blow to foreign direct investment, sending a chilling signal to other global companies considering US expansion. The message is clear: even established players are not immune to sudden upheaval. The empty Chattanooga factory stands as a monument to lost opportunity and broken promises, a stark reminder of how quickly prosperity can vanish. The economic fallout will ripple far beyond Tennessee, reshaping the American auto landscape and threatening the stability of entire communities across the country. The message to international investors is clear: the US is no longer a safe bet for their capital. The consequences of this decision will echo for years to come, altering the nation's economic future. VW's withdrawal is part of a larger global shift in the auto industry. The economic center of gravity is moving east, with China now the world's largest and most dynamic car market, especially for EVs. For VW, winning in China is the top priority. US operations became a costly distraction. The global auto map is being redrawn into distinct trading blocks: the EU with its Green Deal, China with state-driven EV policy, and a more isolated US. The just-in-time global supply chain is giving way to regional, just-in-case models. VW will now focus on resilient supply chains in Europe and China, leaving North America's network weakened. Other foreign automakers are watching closely. If VW can walk away, so can they. The Trump administration's fortress mentality may be turning America into an island. The US risks isolation as the global auto industry realigns. The human cost of VW's exit is devastating. Thousands of Chattanooga workers lose not just jobs, but careers and middle-class security. Specialized skills in advanced manufacturing may not transfer easily in a saturated job market. Local training programs, once a pipeline to prosperity, are now in limbo. For consumers, VW's departure means less choice and higher prices as competition dwindles. Millions of VW and Audi owners face plummeting resale values and shrinking support networks. Warranties may be honored for now, but long-term service and parts will be a challenge. Loyal customers are left stranded, their investment devalued by a distant corporate decision. President Trump's instinct is retaliation, threatening tariffs on German goods to punish VW's home country. But a trade war with the EU would trigger counter-tariffs, hitting key US exports and risking recession. The administration could try to lure another automaker to Chattanooga with incentives, but the same risks that drove VW away remain. Any new investor would be wary of a site so publicly abandoned. Ultimately, Trump may have no good options, forced into retreat or shifting blame to Germany and the EU. He could pivot to supporting domestic automakers, but that's an implicit admission of failure. The damage is done. The image of presidential power is punctured, and the limits of protectionism are exposed. America's industrial strategy stands at a crossroads. The world is watching how the US responds to this corporate exodus. Volkswagen's departure brings immediate economic pain, job losses, higher prices, and hollowed-out communities. The American auto market grows more consolidated and less dynamic. Investors will rethink the risks of doing business in a volatile US climate. The withdrawal accelerates global economic fragmentation as companies focus on regional supply chains and avoid the US. The political fallout for Trump is severe. His promise to control global corporations has been publicly refuted. The empty Chattanooga factory becomes a symbol of broken promises and failed industrial policy. America faces a new era of regional competition and must rethink its place in the world. The void left by VW is more than economic. It's a blow to national confidence. The US must now confront the reality of deglobalization and the risk of becoming a museum of lost industrial might. The question remains, how will America rebuild its industrial future?